All right, hello Q. Could you please introduce yourself and what you do?
Uh, Hi, my name is Q. My name is actually YeonGyu Kim. I know it's pretty hard to pronounce, so it's just I prefer calling being called by Q. I'm the creator of that On My Opencode, which is a pretty popular open source project that got hyped these days. I made some kind of, some decent way. I showed some kind of decent way to orchestrate those agents along with some decent setup, and it went got viral. So Sarah sent me some DM to do some podcasts. So I'm here. Thank you.
Uh, no problem. My name is pretty hard to pronounce too, so I just go by Sarah online. My name is Sharif. So nice to meet you, and speak to you. Could you please introduce Oh My Open Code? What is it? What does it do? Um, yeah, just go into the history a little bit.
Yeah, All My Open Code is actually it does a lot of things, so it's kind of difficult to say like a few sentences, but mostly it is about giving some right tools to the agent and let them to orchestrate or do some it is mostly about uh, how to upgrade the agent's performances by leveraging like lots of tools and sub agents. So just by doing this, you'll get some better results compared to like pure codecs or cloud code.
What was the thinking behind it? What inspired you to build this?
So basically, I just wanted to automate some kind of work at my office. So I'm working currently as a programmer, and I felt like those agents looks like they have some capabilities to create some decent code, but like I have to do some tunings to make them to write some decent code. So I have made my own custom setup for like 3 to 4 months, and I gave them to my colleagues and my friends who are doing some coding, and like I one day felt like okay, I can make it maybe as a plugin, and like OpenCode is there, so maybe I can make it as a plugin, and like it suddenly went got viral. So yeah, I'm here.
And why open code specifically? What is the reason you chose that as a building block?
So the first thing is Cloud Code. Cloud Code was actually my main driver, but like their plugin capabilities and the things that I can do with it is pretty limited. Maybe Sarah, you also know it or not. Like I have to, if I want to make something similar in the cloud code, I have to make a lot of dependencies to external stuff. What I have done is like all making it into as a one plugin. Just by installing one plugin, you don't have any external dependencies and all such things. So that's why I made it as an OpenCode plugin. The OpenCode plugin has those capabilities on their plugin system.
I built something very similar. I think before I knew that Oh My Open Code existed, I had a similar idea. So my goal was, how do I give a task and just like walk away for 4 hours and know that it's
Yeah.
being worked on with relative accuracy, which is very hard because these models, the longer you go without interacting with them, the more they go off track from what the intended purpose was. And I think OpenCode specifically has a really nice system with like all of these different types of models, and the way that their extension, like their app is built, lets you spawn these servers, and it's just very interesting. It's a great building block. What are some challenges that you've run into when trying to do this? Did you try to build this like before with some other tool and like have it not work out?
So the very first thing that I have tried with this is actually making it as a Cloud Agent SDK by leveraging it, which is kind of limited. So I made some kind of TUI wrapper that wraps Cloud Code SDK, and tried to do the same thing, but like it was very unstable. So yeah, I first of all, the multimodal feature is very hard to implement if I just stick into those Cloud Code SDK, and like those background tasks like the async subagents, which Cloud Code now natively supports, but those kind of stuff that I tried to build it like a Cloud Code, but it was super unstable to make it as an external stuff.
And what does success look like here? So, because it got very popular, especially like last month, January, December, it was getting more and more popular. And I think it resonated with a lot of people. And I think there's many people working on the same problem where it's like, how can we hand stuff off to the model and walk away and do something else? Like, so maybe spawn another one and not have to keep babysitting them. So what does success look like for you? What does it do well right now?
The thing is like, I think as you said, the main thing was like, how can I leave off and like let the agent to work like a 4 hours, 5 hours, and when I go back, I get like a 80 to 90% quality of the work that I have expected. The thing is like giving it like a decent plan, like the planning mode in All My Opencode does, and like how to delegate well, so that I don't have to, so that I can keep the context to be fresh and clean, so that the model perform really well, and like just by the main orchestrator to confirm to see whether the sub agents have done as he have commanded. So I think that kind of work maybe led to this kind of success.
Could you tell me a bit about like the models themselves? So, OpenCode lets you use multiple different types of models, and they all have different strengths and weaknesses. For me, like with Opus or all of the Claude models, they're very eager to please, and they just want to make something work, right? Like they don't care about how does this affect the wider system. So how have you found like the different models, and what are their pros and cons? And are you thinking about like, I want to use GPT for this and Opus for that? Or are you mainly sticking to like one model and just having the sub agents have different prompts and tools?
Yeah, model loss matters because they actually behave very differently. So as you said, Opus, yeah, I think Opus is kind of generalized model, the most general model, I should say. Although the performance is degrading a lot these days, but like I still use Opus as my daily driver because it does the work generally really well. And like for the GPT series models, their IQ seems to be really high. So when Opus tries to, so I have to deal with some problems that Opus fails to, solve, like a very complex debugging thing. Then I use GPT, which is the new agent that I introduced recently on My Opencode, which is the Hephaestus. And like for Gemini models, they tend to be very creative, which in other way they behave some kind of misaligned. They doesn't feel aligned. So, but still they're really good at front end tasks and giving some different aspects perspectives. So I use them like when I really need some kind of visual work or some different approaches that I have to take that needs creativity.
And what about the Chinese models? Have you played around with them? So I just want to say my morning experience, I wanted to use OpenCode, like on my OpenCode again, because I know how it's like. I'm constantly changing all my stuff, and like half of it breaks, half of it works. So I wanted to like make sure I have the most up-to-date experience, and I used Kimi 2.5. So they did reinforcement learning on the orchestration for it, so it does sub agents really well. And I gave it a task to scrape 1,000 like profiles off of this platform and to get this data all organized and like queued up so that I can submit it somewhere else. And it did really well, I would say. Yeah, what's your experience like with these Chinese models? There's like a few that I know are good.
Yeah, I really love Chinese models. Like, for example, those one of my favorite model is like the most favorite open source model is like Kimi K 2.5, as you said. It was the first model that I felt like it was the first open source model that I felt like, oh, this is actually better than Sonnet. So Kimi is really good, and like GLM models, they does feel like some cloud models, but when the context gets longer and if I prompt them naively, they tend to hallucinate a lot. So I really the my favorite use case of leveraging those Chinese models is to using them as a sub agent, because in that way Opus or other some frontier models can prompt them really well.
Yeah, that's been my experience too. And Kimi felt like what I wanted Gemini 3 to feel like. So it has a similar. Maybe they used it to what is it called? Like they teach the model based off of the responses of Gemini. Maybe because it just has that creativity without having those personality flaws that you mentioned with so like some horrible personality flaws of Gemini, where it just doesn't tool call. Like it says it's going to tool call and then it just stops. And I found them to be super difficult to work with and never really used them professionally to any extent. Um, what about you're in Korea, right? In South Korea, is that
Yeah,
accurate?
yeah, South Korea.
And have you tried out those new models coming from South Korea? I think 2025, 2026, like there's been three or four of them that have ranked really well. Have you looked into
Yeah.
them?
I love my country, but I don't like my country's models. They're really stupid. Sorry.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Um,
I mean, like, yeah,
oh,
there are some use cases where they have some kind of benchmarks or whatever, but like, uh, to if I made up my mind to use it as a coding agent, they feel like I'm using some kind of GPT 3.5 or something.
I see what you're saying. And what about the future? So, how do you want to drive open code, my open code forward? Are there any other projects that you're working on? Yeah, what do you think about that?
Yeah, I'm actually not me, but there are teams who are working with me. So they're making some kind of commercialized version of my open code, I guess, which is on the README. You'll see those waitlist page. Maybe it would be something like Super Devin or something. So just like it would be something like Devin, but much better Devin. You know, I don't know whether you have tried Devin or not, but like definitely it would be better
I
than Devin.
have. I have. Not very impressed.
Yeah.
And what about interfaces? So I know that you're using OpenCode as like the way to interact with the models, and that's the building block, and you have your extension on top of it. But the idea that OpenCode lets you like run these interfaces on separate ports, and you can revisit them. They have a desktop app. I actually made a desktop app for like my version of what you're building. That has like ticketing, so you can move a ticket and then it gets
Yeah.
picked up. And these are experiments more than anything that I think would be useful for people in production. But have you thought about like interface development?
Actually, that is the most uh, you know difficult part that I have talked with my team, because the UX, like the UX for these AI agents, is like everybody wants to solve this problem, but nobody has the right answer for right now, right? So they all try to make some improvements for something, but like there's not something, some GUI moment for the AI agents, I should say. So so mostly it would be something like just, it would be, my goal is to make it to feel like a real human. So it would be much closer to what OpenClaw have done these days. But uh, but for the work, I should say. In terms of those UI and the UX thing, I don't think I am the expert of it because thinking of those, user-friendly interfaces, like I think that's something there. I think in that way or the field, more experts will be there. So yeah.
That makes a lot of sense. Um, I'd love to know what you feel about. There's a lot of criticisms towards this type of project where you have an orchestrator that has management over sub agents, and I think a lot of it is properly due. Right, it makes sense. The criticism makes sense because I can see the degradation versus me just sitting there and like hammering the point and the quality into it. But I also think that that's not super efficient. How do you feel about these criticisms? Does anything stick out to you as true? Yeah, let me know.
Yeah, the feedbacks that I get pretty often at the very first time was like, do we really need this? Like this kind of heavy setup? Because you know, thinking about how humans work, like if I work alone, I can do some one small thing very efficiently. But let's say I have to work with a team, then I have to think about how to orchestrate with the team, how to co-work with the team. Then there is inefficiency for sure. But like if I have to work with a very big thing, then I have to work with people, right? I think the same thing applies to the agent. Um, so as you said, and as I have said earlier, what I wanted to make was like let the agent work for like 5 to 6 hours, let it work alone for a very big project, and just to make it a success. Of course, there are some solutions like a Ralph loop, but in terms of making successful, I think orchestration is the future, or maybe present that we already got. But like in terms of making something great or good for a big project, I think agent orchestration is the answer.
I believe that. So my sense is that all of this is being developed, and it like a lot of it is going to die or like fall apart. But all of these experiments are going to teach us how to better work with larger scale projects using just one person and a bunch of models. And so like I think these are very important experiments, and I think they're viable. So I used root code. I'm not sure if you're familiar with root code. It's similar to Klein. So they have this same feature or like a similar concept. They have profiles. You can name them and then give them tools, and then you have an orchestrator, and but it doesn't do async. It just does synchronous. So it sends one task, it waits to get it back, and then it keeps going. And I've had like 12-hour runs on that, and I found it to be super good. I think it's worth trying. And Codex as well. So Codex has the queue mode. When you like send a message, they already take like an hour to finish anything, but you can basically create rules and tell it like don't ask me questions. If you run into a problem, figure it out. If you can't figure it out, just revisit later. But go through like, and you send it one task, and you can send it all 10 in a queue, and it just sees them one by one when the entire agent loop is done, not just like the turn what the model is currently doing. And I've got that to run up to 17 hours. There's so much cleaning up after though, that from my experience. But have you tried like these different spins on the same concept, and do any stick out to you as useful?
Yeah. In terms of agent orchestration, I honestly, looked into another options like guest town would be one of the example for it, or maybe the thing that I wanted to do was pretty similar to the boomerang mode of root code. Yeah. Is that the one that you mentioned?
That's the one that I mentioned. Yeah, it's grown a lot. Like root code is very advanced, so they have like browser and computer in like you can turn on these modes, and then the model is able to interact with the browser within root code. So it just like spawns, and then it takes screenshots. Same with computer use. And you can also set like different models, and I found that to be the best way where GPT does all the reviewing. because it's super detail oriented as opposed to Claude. So I like giving GPT like, here's what where the code base is at. Here's what we're trying to accomplish, and tell me what the difference is and how we can fix it. So you have played around with the boomerang mode, and what's been your experience with that?
Yeah, boomerang mode was like I tried it like a 2 or 3 times, so not much, but like it was pretty exciting exciting experience because I was at the moment I was building pretty similar thing on the Cloud code. Like I don't know whether you tried the Atlas mode on my Opencode. That actually a similar thing of boomerang mode, which is delegating per one task and let it wait until they are done. So and the orchestrator verifies the sub agent's work. So just by doing this loop, make it to be make some uh, great results that users have expected at the very first time. So yeah, I think Rookwood was a pretty you know the most I don't know the most similar thing that they have done like I've done.
Yeah, I really do think it's worth looking into. It inspired me also. That's why I decided to do this because I like OpenCode. I think it's visually appealing, and so I just wanted boomerang mode in OpenCode. That's how it started. So I built the boomerang mode, but then I started getting like into the async tasks because I don't always want it to just sit in one. Like scraping is the best example of this. So I do a lot of scraping for my actual job. And async subagents are great for this because you can just give them like, here's the problem, here's the part of the problem you need to work on. Go get me 1,000 projects from here, go get me 500 posts from here, whatever it is. And that doesn't need to be synchronous. It actually benefits from like this, distributing the agents. So that was my inspiration, and then I really love it. I want to get into like some of your thinking around the different agents that are in OpenCode that you've made. So I've used Sisyphus. I've seen Atlas. I've not used it, but what? So at first, I like the naming scheme. I really like the naming scheme of Sisyphus specifically. It's great. How are you thinking about these agents? Like, how much do you spend writing them and like deciding their personalities?
Actually, I must say that it took like a half of year to create the Sisyphus because Sisyphus is the one that I experimented the most. Like the goal to make automate my office work. I put like a half of year to make it success, and Sisyphus was the result of it. So Sisyphus was the most time spent agent, and like the Hephaestus, which is actually a codex version of Sisyphus. I came into this idea when the Anthropic bans the open code. So yeah, but like I've experimented, I've experimented that codex models, but it was just not my type. But like I don't know. I saw those news that AMP code introduces the deep mode, and like I recently looked into it again, and like you know I prompted them again because there were some different ways that I need to prompt on the codex, and I was just like I didn't know it. So I prompted the Sisyphus with the I rewrote the Sisyphus prompt with the codex prompting guide, and like it was super great. So that took like a month, and the Prometheus and Atlas was like the actually the part of the original Sisyphus project that was actually that I spent like a 6 months. So Sisyphus project was like a different project, like a that was actually based on the Cloud code, and the Prometheus and Atlas mode was the actual Sisyphus. So yeah,
I
I
see.
spent
I
like
see what you're
yeah
saying.
6 months.
And I wanted to ask you, so how old are you? Like, if you're comfortable sharing, and how did you get into like using AI specifically for work? Because
Yeah.
from my experience, like it's a big split right now, where there's a lot of devs that just don't want anything to do with it, and then there's people that are just like crazy. Like I would say like myself, I'm just like this. I'm just trying to get as good as at this as possible.
Yeah. First of all, I'm 24, so yeah, maybe Korean age is different. So like I don't know. I was born in 2003, so
It's
yeah.
yeah, it's very impressive. Like you're young and you kind of went like from my perspective, seeing you from the outside, you went all in on this technology. Um, why did you decide to do that? Like what was your journey like with these tools, and why have you doubled down so hard on like making this work?
Yeah. The first thing is if I can call myself as an agent, that means that I can literally be like a 10x engineer just by creating it. So that was the actual idea, the initial idea that firstly came out of my mind. But like thinking of a year ago, I was the guy who said like all the agency is scam. They're just doing it to get some investments. But like after I saw Cloud Code and the hook feature, like that blow my mind and like everything has changed. It like I can you know automate those human in the loop thing as a hook thing. So everything started from there, and like I was super deep into it, like thinking like agents can do everything, and they're not uh, completing my jobs properly just because I maybe prompt I have maybe prompted them wrong, or I have misused them. So yeah, the thing was started all from there, and after that, everything was all about the experiments.
That makes sense. My personal experience with them has been that they like people don't understand they don't understand what they are. First of all, like most people don't understand what an LLM is, or like what are the steps and how does it work and why does it work. And then people either have these like extreme expectations of what it can do, where they think they could just like give it two sentences and then have everything delivered
Yeah.
perfectly, or they think it can't do anything at all, and both are pretty wrong. And I think we're going closer and closer to you can give them two sentences and get something that's like relatively accurate without much effort. How are you looking like into the future? Do you still write code by hand, or are you mostly just interfacing with these models?
Yeah, just like I saw the interview from the OpenClaw creator before. Like he said, he don't read code, or he don't write. He actually don't write code at all. I think it's pretty similar with me. Like I was doing the pretty similar thing. Um, he said he used Codex mostly, and he really doesn't like let Claude to write his code. But yeah, I think that's the difference. But like I made some kind of 100 commits today, and like thinking about 2 days ago, I made like 180 commits a day. So yeah, I think the future is the more I think the more time passes, we won't read any code. So it would be some kind of like how we treat assembly.
I believe that. I stopped writing code like a year and a half ago.
Yeah.
Even with Sonnet 3.6, like the upgraded version of 3.5, I was sitting there like a caveman. Instead of writing the thing that I know how to write, I was just like a caveman. Like I need you to
Yeah.
do it. You need to do it.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
I was able to get like there's code bases that are still currently running in production that I haven't touched in months that make money for other people and myself, no security issues, no flaws, that were written by 3.6, which is relatively stupid compared to what we have now. So it's confusing to me. I wonder why people feel so intensely about it. Like why people don't want to accept it. A big argument is always that like they produce slop and then like you have to clean up after them. But I feel like that's the same as people, right? Like people also produce slop and then you have to like do the code reviews. So what's the difference? Like what is the actual difference?
for sure.
Uh,
Um,
how are your peers thinking like of this? If you may share.
oh, sorry, I didn't listen.
How have your peers, like people that you work with, whether it's at the office or even
Yeah.
online, how do you experience people people's attitudes towards this?
So yeah, I think senior engineers are more hesitate to adopt those AI agents to their workflow because it's time consuming, right? So we have to get closer to these models and how they act. We have to get closer to them, right? Just because I use lots of tokens into those AI agents, I now know how they act and I can expect what they would work like. But that's time consuming thing, right? So I think senior engineers are more hesitant to do those stuff, and that's maybe because they prefer human in the loop, that kind of coding experiences, because they don't want to invest their extra time into fine tuning those harnesses. But thinking about those junior developers, just because they have to leverage those well and they have to be performant, I think junior engineers are much more much better than leveraging those coding agents. So I view I saw lots of junior engineers doing some, not all the time, but sometimes they work better than senior engineers. Like they produce better code. So yeah.
No, I think I understand what you mean. I think a lot of it is probably self-preservation. Like, you built your entire career on the fact that you write code and you do technical stuff. And then just a junior with a machine gun can come in and do all this stuff. I'm trying to figure out, because like my experience has been, I've left companies. Okay, I've worked as a contractor most of my career, right? I'm not like an employee. I work for myself and I have a business. And I've left a lot of clients and jobs because I feel like they are not aware or like accepting the fact that this is how I need it to be, right? And I don't think it's just beneficial for me. It's like a fast market. Everything needs to be so fast now. There's so much, like, you need to have attention. You need to have good quality products. You need to iterate quickly, keep catching up. And I don't think you can do that like the old way anymore, where you just sit there and you sprint plan for 2 weeks. I just don't believe that that's possible.
Yeah, for sure.
How? Go ahead, please.
Yeah. So thinking of those workflows that I do recently, like maybe if I do some formulas that we kind of have done, like defining how to 10x engineers, I'm now the 10x engineer. But like everybody near me who is using coding agents really well, they're all 10x engineers right now. So yeah, that's very changed a lot.
And what does the future look like for you from like the My Opencode perspective, and then maybe personally? How do you want to grow, and what are some things that are on mind for the future?
So my view is pretty clear. My view is pretty close to what entropic thinks. Like entropic thinks that if we can, solve the coding problem, then AGI will come. So that's what entropic takes. And I think pretty similar approach that I'm taking right now. So I want to let my agents to like most of the works that I do with the computers. So if I can make coding agents really well, so let's imagine this kind of future, like, hey Sisyphus, please send me WhatsApp message to my friend, and Sisyphus somehow figures out how to send message on a WhatsApp. Maybe if it's required to reverse engineer the whole protocol, I think he must do it. Like thinking of the Jarvis from the Iron Man movie, Jarvis would have done it. So like that's the thing that I'm thinking of right now. So in terms of all my open code perspective, I think I have to solve. I think I have to make it more, let it code really well and understand the context really well, work consistently really well, and just by doing so, I think I can have some great engine to do those general works. So yeah, I think that's the thing that I'm thinking of right now. And in terms of personal view, honestly, I don't know. Like so many things have changed like these 2 to 3 months. Like I'm just a normal engineer who is doing some kind of boring backend works, and I made some kind of public, my personal setup as a public plugin, open source project, and it suddenly went got super viral, and so many good options just came into me, and like, so yeah, it was kind of confused at the moment, but like, yeah, honestly, not sure right now.
I do want to talk about like what the experience was when you like when it did go trending, because you go from very little attention to so much attention. And
Yeah.
I don't have that much attention, but my Twitter started going up like 6 months ago. I bought a bunch of GPUs and wired them together, and I'm like running models at home, and I started just doing experiments and posting them, and people like really love that. And I think it's affected me like both positively in that I just get so much work now. People like want me to do stuff for them, but negatively in that like I feel the attention has kind of ruined my the attention has ruined my attention. It's hard because every time I open there's so much new stuff, and I'm always excited, and I feel like I like the digital world a little bit more than the real one, and so I don't like that to a certain degree. How was that experience for you? So going from just a normal developer to somebody that got all this attention.
I think the major difference is that I don't watch YouTube anymore because there are so many dopamines if I open X and GitHub. So the major difference is I don't watch YouTube anymore. Like I used to watch YouTube a lot, but like nowadays I barely. And at the very first time all those attentions and that kind of stuff started, I was very happy at the very first time, but like as soon as it got viral, like it was when it was, let's say the graph is like this, and I was happy until this, and to hear from here, I was really confused and so stressful. I was like sleeping 3 hours a day and shipping, like just because I was so anxious. Like all those people, what if all those people left and like loses those attention? So that kind of anxiety actually made me to like cooking those Sisyphus stuff. And I think so yeah, it took time, but like I'm now in the now I'm on the track, and yeah, stay I'm very stable right now and just cooking stuff, the thing that I want to make. So yeah.
Well, for all it's worth, I think if you did something good once, that you can recreate it very easily many times. So you have your pulse on what's actually happening and like what the trends are going to be. I think there's like a level of being ahead of the curve of most people, because I still see how people use it and they're just copy pasting, or like even the ones that are using like agent mode, they're just like working one file at a time. And I see the benefits there. Like you have a better mental model of the code, but I feel like it's just so slow. So I think you're ahead of the curve, and you'll definitely like make more good stuff. Yeah, and then there's no reason to be stressed out. Okay, I saw like all of the negative reactions in January, or like December to January, about Gastown and what you built and what I built, and that's okay. Like it's I think it's fair to a certain degree. Like there is a level of fairness to it, but that doesn't mean anything negative.
Yeah, I think the future is pretty clear. Like the way we go, like you go and I'm thinking, like those orchestration and like everybody think it. Not everybody. Like there are some folks saying some negative stuff about this orchestration. Is like all about bullshit hype or something. But like they'll soon, or maybe not soon, but they'll agree in somehow, yeah, in a similar way that we have agreed.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, so Claude Code, they've had these sub agents for so long. I think it's been like almost a year. It launched with, I think the second month of it being live, they put sub agents in, and I tried them, and it's just like it doesn't work. Like the model doesn't. Maybe it's because the models at the time were not as smart. I don't really know, but the models would just not like. I would say call this sub agent to do this, call this to do that, and it just would ignore all of that, or make like a sub agent that doesn't have the profile that I gave it. Like it just launch a random one, and now where we are, where like Kimi was very impressive. I think Kimi was like a revolutionary moment because this is open weight, open source, and you can run it on $20,000 of hardware,
Oh,
realistically.
yeah, but
Like
like,
Kimi
isn't
K2.5.
yeah, Kimi is like, but isn't it too heavy to run on a local machines? Like, it's 1 trillion, right?
Yeah, but with Mac Ultras, so each Mac Ultra has 512 gigabytes of RAM or like shared memory. And if you have two of the, each one costs about $10,000. If you put two of those together, that's a 1 terabyte of memory, and you can run the model in 4 bits because they trained it in 4 bits. So there's no accuracy. It's like 99%. Like the perplexity is extremely low compared to something that you would run like a 4 bit of something that wasn't trained in 4 bit. Like there's a 5 to 10% difference, and that accumulates over time. So I think that's like a revolutionary moment because you can just set two Macs on top of each other. You get like 30 tokens a second generation speed, and it's only getting faster. Like MLX is only getting faster, and I think that's where I'm really interested. Is my goal was to have a replacement for myself. Like, can I create a digital version of myself that I can communicate with, and then just have it like do things for me? And I can, like, it is possible, right? I've been using OpenClaw for over a month, and it's great. Like, it works. There's a lot of issues with it, but it works. And I think that's where the future is. You have like your own mini you that manages everything and works for you and makes money, and then you have to figure out how to make it happy.
Yeah, truth be told, some of the messages that I sent you was actually sent by my OpenClaw. Maybe you're noticing or not, but like, yeah, some of them are from my OpenClaw.
I don't have a problem with that. I'm gonna go over them again and try to see which ones they are. I didn't notice.
Oh, really?
The only one that I can easily notice is GPT. Like
Ah,
it does
yeah,
that. It's not X, it's Y, and the dashes.
they speak really weird, right?
Yeah, like really, yeah, really, not human at all. Claude is better. Claude, Kimi is the best actually with speaking. I don't know if do you use them outside of code?
No, yeah, actually, Kim is not. I don't think Kim is really good at Korean, so I never use it for outside of coding work. But I heard lots of feedbacks that Kimi feels really creative. Do you agree with it?
Yeah, it's great at writing. It doesn't use the M dashes. It doesn't use those like it's not X, it's Y. Like, so it's not an orchestration layer. It's the future of work, right? This is how GPT talks always. Like in every single paragraph, it includes one of these. Kimi doesn't do any of that. It's very good at talking, and it's fun to talk to.
Oh, really?
So I
Better, even better than Gemini.
Oh, I don't. He's way better than Gemini. I don't like Gemini at all. I
Oh,
don't
really?
like the only thing is the UI. It makes good UIs.
Okay.
So the Korean thing, that's very interesting. I've never thought about because I usually speak to them in English. I'm a native born English speaker. So
Yeah.
what models are good at Korean?
Gemini is actually best at Korean. Like thinking of other models, like GPT definitely speaks like GPT, even in Korean. And Claude feels like, yeah, they speak like a bit closer to native Korean, but like I can sense that. But Gemini feels like if I prompt them really well, they feel like it's written from actual Korean.
That's I've tried out like taking a picture of something in another language and getting it translated, or if I have like something that's like complex, like not normal language, a lot of slang or street talk, like a weird way of using the language that's specific. I use the models, and they tend to do pretty good at that. This is like the first time I've ever thought of this as a problem. Is like how do the models interact in a different language? There was this research paper about what the most effective language for prompting a model is, and it's Polish. And I live in Poland,
Polish.
and yes, Polish. It's the most effective at prompting a model because the language is extremely specific. Everything is gendered, everything is timed, everything is like they use many, many words to say something that in English would take like 4 words. Does that make sense?
Yeah, so like it's kind of TypeScript language, right?
Exactly. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Funny. How is Korean? So like how do you describe Korean as a language? Is it dense with meaning? Is it more like, short slang words?
Korean is actually very contextual language, even compared to English. Like, you know, it feels kind of different where it requires some contextual understanding. But like, Korean is also the one language that needs your abstraction layer, that kind of thing. So there are many implicit stuff that required to understand to that kind of stuff, even compared to the English. And like, what's funny thing is like, I actually thought like the most friendly language for LMs was Chinese because they're they're using less tokens. So yeah, Polish was.
Yeah, apparently, yeah. So Polish is like super. When I listen to my wife is Polish. When we go outside to like a doctor appointment or whatever, they talk for 20 minutes, and then I ask her what are they talking about. And it's just like, well, she told me to get this medicine, take it 3 times a day, and they're just like yapping and yapping and yapping. And so I think it's helpful for the model to get like as much context as possible to predict the next token. But I don't know if that's the case for code, right? So this is mainly for just how well can it communicate as opposed to the code thing. English is the main language for code at this point.
Yeah.
Have you ever coded in a different language? I know there's like some types of code that you can write in like Chinese or in Russian. There are languages specific for countries that usually are used by governments. Have you ever seen any of that?
So like programming language, but not using English.
Yes. So it's the same stuff, like for loops, but they use a different language, and usually it's like a government. It's very strange. I've seen like a few of these. Some Arabic countries do it, China does it, and Russia does it. Apparently,
So
it's
they
super
actually
interesting.
use it like a production,
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
not just for fun.
I don't. It's used by governments mainly. So
Oh.
that's my understanding.
Oh.
Well, there was something on my mind. I wanted to ask you about like now that you have a bunch of people paying attention to your project, how has the contribution like world felt like to you? Like people trying to contribute to your project and like all are you getting spammed by issues and PRs and are you reviewing that? Do you only work on your project by yourself? That's my strategy. I don't want anybody to contribute unless it's super simple like small thing. I want to do it myself.
Yeah, I want to make let those users in communities. So I have a community channel on the Discord. So I want to let my people and users to feel like they're one of they're on the journey. So I really try to look into their contributions real well. But the thing is, I don't know whether you looked into it or not, but there's a skill called issue triage and peer triage, which basically spawns one PR as a one sub agent. So yeah, that's basically how I answer those questions at the issue and some kind of look into those bugs from the issue channel and those PR reviews and that kind of stuff. Like I have maybe 50 peers opened in my project at the moment. So what I'm actually doing right now these days, so spawning 50 agents at a time with Kimi and let those agents to investigate it and like what I get is those reports and like yeah, if they say good, I ask my Oracle, which is basically a GPT-5. So yeah, if it says looks good to me and like looks good to me, like yeah, that's what I do these days.
Yeah, I try to read the code. So I went through this period of a year where I didn't read any code. I don't want to look at it. Like I'm in the terminal and whatever the code is, whatever it is. But as I have started working on more like larger projects, more difficult tasks, I need to have a mental model of the code. And so I have two questions left for you. One is like I really appreciate you taking the time to do this. I've been excited to have this conversation with you. What amount of time do you spend reviewing the code, refactoring it, cleaning it up versus adding new stuff in?
So mostly adding the new stuff, but you know, if I just keep shipping the new stuff, then like like yeah, there will be so much bugs and so many unmaintained stuff. And as you said, having those mental models of the code base is really important. Although I don't read code and I don't know about the directory structure, but I still have those mental models in my mind. So in that way, I can like literally managing my AI agents, which is just I treat them as my just programmer, and what I do is managing all of them. So yeah, mostly like 80% of is actually shipping, and the rest of 20% will be like refactoring and reading those issues and making bug fixes.
My approach has been like the opposite. So I'll add features in for like 2 days and then I'll refactor for three and just like clean up and just like make sure that it's all tidy. I set all of these LSP rules so that the code at like it'll scream at the model if it goes over like 100 lines of code. I don't want more than because I can't look at it and I need to have a mental model. And I found that this is like the main thing that makes it easier to work long term is how can I understand the code base without spending so much time reading it. And so I've learned this from Peter Steinberg, the guy behind OpenClaw. So on his like if you look at OpenClaw the repo, all of the files are they fit in one vertical screen. You don't have to scroll to see it. So all of them like and that was very surprising to me like or like 90% of all the files. And I think that's super smart. I think this is kind of where I need to go. What I'm thinking I need to go is like, I want to build something out and then I want to refactor, clean up, and get less code and get less code. If I can keep it under 20,000 lines of code, it'll probably be more efficient than if you just let it, rip. But maybe I'm wrong also. I mean, maybe there's going to be a better model in 3 months that just completely cleans up everything and probably realistic. I wanted to ask you, like, this is probably the last question. You've done a lot, and you're very young. You have a job, and you also do this open source contribution, and I think you're very creative and have like a good idea of what's coming. What advice would you give to people that are, either your age or younger that want to get into this? What are some tricks that you've learned along the way, and like mistakes that you've learned from?
So yeah, there are so many advices regarding those new era, like the AI agent stuff. Like one of the main advice people take is that in the new era you have to unlearn stuff, like forgetting what you have learned. But those people younger than me, because they have learned not that much and they don't have some kind of fixed mindset, I think they are like the younger people. They're in a better position because they don't have to forget that much. So what I want to say to those people is that you have to find your own way, and even if other people like regarding you or some legacy people says you that kind of way you'll be wrecked or that's a wrong way, you'll be get in trouble if you're doing to do so. I just want to say that you have to make a mindset that you're right, and even if you're wrong, that you get crashed, and you'll find a better way. And just by doing so, you'll have your ways to solving your problem, and then that kind of approaches and capabilities will last, even if those AI agents do all of our works.
Thank you, thank you. I totally agree. I've left many different clients and jobs because I think that they're not advanced enough in AI, and I think that all the winners are going to be whoever figures out how to automate as much as possible, move as fast as possible. That's just my personal belief. I'm willing to die on that hill. This is what I think is right. I really do think so, and I hope other people figure that out too. Because I have so much negative pushback, man. Every day I get people like complaining. Even if I did something perfectly like enough for the business, right? More than enough. Even if I 10x their business or like improved something that they had, they still complain. Like workers specifically, devs, seniors. So. Thank you so much for taking the time. Is there anything that you want to share before we wrap up today?
Yeah, just can I ask you like a last question because I talked a lot of today. So
For sure, yeah, please.
yeah, so you're kind of have those influences on X, and like you're viewing pretty similar future as I have seen. I'm just curious about you're doing lots of some local model stuff, and like you're also into orchestration stuff, but you still believe some you know you know non sub agent stuff, that kind of stuff. So like, what are the futures and what the thing that you are currently looking at?
So I think that the way so I use almost all of the tools. Realistically, I use Claude Code for certain things. I use Codex for certain things. I use OpenCode, Pi, and Droid the most. Like these tools, because they have like different approaches. So with OpenCode, it like that composability of all these different features that it has, and ability to switch between models and the sub agents, I think is the best in the game. I don't think anybody's doing it to that level of quality. The server architecture that they have is also very impressive because you can just run an OpenCode server and then connect it to Telegram, and now you have your orchestration layer on Telegram very easily, like maybe 30 minutes. With Pi, it's so simple. It doesn't do any orchestration stuff. It's just you talk to the model directly, no system prompt, nothing. Just you and the model. Like there's like 3 features in it. It lets you switch between models. So I think that that's very good for fast iteration because it's much faster than Claude Code, given that it doesn't have a system prompt and they don't do compaction the same way. The last is Droid. I think Droid is really ahead of the game in terms of like how they serve enterprise and how they fix the issues that the models have. So they have this like slash readiness report hook. So you can just do slash readiness report and it scans your repo and then it finds everything in your repo that is like not production grade or any area of improvement where you can set up like linting or you can set up LSPs, where you're using an outdated pattern. And it'll put them on a site for you with like a charts, and you can track like, do you have testing? How much does it cover? Do you have linting? How much does it cover? Are you using a monorepo or not? Do you have agents.md in every big module? So they like scan everything. I think that's super good. Their compaction system doesn't work the same as like Claude and Codex. They don't have like this budget where they have to compact after. So you can just run it like never compacting. I've had 25 million tokens in a single session. In a day without a single issue, no degradation of quality. They do like these block checkpointing, very, very good. I'll ramble on for a bit, so please stop me if it's too much. With what I think like the future is going to be is that a lot of knowledge work, instead of like machines completely removing people, there's going to be some people that are really good at the machines, right? Like they really know how they work and they like learn how to deal with them and they can maintain them. And those are the people that I think are going to have all of the digital work. There is like this concerning trend that like a fear in the United States, 33% of jobs are related to driving. And we've had self-automated cars for the last 6 years. Like Waymo, like doesn't need a person. Tesla doesn't need a person in there. The only reason we have a person is because the government is forcing it. So I feel like there's going to be a huge problem in terms of like, how are people going to make money if we don't figure out like, okay, let's say we turn on the automation for all the cars. How are people going to make money? Because that's 33% of people working and 50% of families are making, living off of driving. For the whole orchestration stuff, I'll just end it with this. I've heard a lot of people say like, oh, just talk to the model. And I think that that's great if you have like a really good image of what you want to do and you're more like goal oriented and you want to have full control. I don't think that that is the only way to do it. I think that what you're doing makes a lot of sense. And what I would love to see is the model discovering stuff and then building out products by itself, right? Like just demos. It doesn't have to be perfect, but like just read Reddit, find like 100 posts that say the same thing, make a product for them, see if you can sell it. The agents need a way to make money, like money to transact. This is huge because like the main thing stopping me from using agents to do everything is like, how are you going to give them a debit card and a computer? But if they have like a wallet and they can just interact, plug into a system, and like that is that is what I would love to see. Does that answer your question?
Yeah. So yeah, you must be you were previously in the crypto scene, right?
I still am. But I've only ever worked on infra. I've worked on infra. So I did a research grant with the Ethereum Foundation. I built a lot of like the actual applications and like the smart contracts, automations in a lot of the top protocols. But I do it less and less nowadays.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, I think that's a really great answer. And just one thing, that random idea that came into my mind is like, I let my OpenClaw agent to do all of my work. So it has my own password access. So it can literally do everything that I can do on the online. So because it has all of the credentials. But the one thing that is lack of is it cannot make transactions. It cannot make any real money transactions. It can do those.
X402.
Yeah. For
Have you heard X402? Have you heard of this?
no.
So do you know like 404, not like 404 error? So this is like an HTTP status code, like 400 status 5. So one of the status codes was 402, and it was like bought and reserved, but nobody ever used it. And then I think Coinbase bought the rights to it, and they did this X402. So it's the 402 error, payment required. And so they give the model a wallet, and they also give the website a wallet. And so the website watches the wallet and will only let in whoever sends it money, right? So you have to send it money proven by you. It's like 3 lines of code. It's very good, but now the problem is like how many websites support this. So a lot of websites need a card. They like require a debit card, which is fine, but you can give the model a debit card. It's not hard. It's just you're getting into this like weird security realm. I bought a Mac Mini. Everybody's like, oh, don't buy a Mac Mini. I don't think people should be running OpenClaw on their personal machines. It's a massive, massive security risk. So, give it its own space. Do you do that? Do you have like a computer for it?
Yeah, but like they're super secure right now, and I only open for like a tail scale, so it's pretty secure.
Yeah, same. Yeah, same. I have like a tail scale, but then if you get it to read social media, like that it still has the ability to do something dangerous. It's important to know. Thank you so much for your time, Q. It was really great to talk to you. Hopefully we can talk again, and I'm gonna use it for the rest of the day and see how it goes. This is my start, like the start of my work day. Thank you for the great work.
Yeah, thank you for inviting me. It was super fun to talk with you.